listening to the Friday Five here on the Agent Survival Guide podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Ruppel, and this is our weekly recap where we talk about 5 things that happened this week that you should know about. Today is September 19th, and I am still wondering where all of August went, and we're just about through the month of September. So that's how things are going for me. It has been a busy summer, a busy prep season, and we are now less than 30 days away from AEP 2026. That being said, coming in at number 5, we just wrapped up our summit season in Ohio this week. I had a chance to connect with so many of you over the past few weeks during these summits, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming out, saying hello, asking questions, and making this such a fun experience. One of the things I mentioned at every summit I attended, the resources that we have to offer here at Ritter Insurance Marketing. This podcast is just one example. We publish episodes on a regular basis to keep you updated on what's going on in our industry. There's also our blog, the Ritter blog. Our team publishes 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes more, and there is some crossover of material between the blog and our podcast. We also publish ebooks and guides. We have over 20 that we have published so far. Those each take a deep dive on a specific product, strategy, or topic. And then our newest resource on the marketing side, the content library, includes consumer-facing compliant marketing materials for agents. Each series focuses on a different topic, and then we break that topic out into different formats, giving agents the ability to plug and play. We will be linking to those resources in the episode notes, so be sure to check those out, and if you haven't already, bookmark them so they're easy to find and come back. We are constantly publishing and updating, so there's plenty to listen to, read over, learn about, and then also help educate and entertain your clients as well. I have been in and out of the office and my inbox over the past few weeks, so I'll be reaching out to answer emails and follow up over the next week or so. I am trying my best to get caught up with all the things. If you have already messaged me or we talked at the summits, look for those messages coming to your inbox soon. And if you thought of a question after you left our table, or even when you got home from the summit, please reach out and send me an email. You can send it to the one on my business card, sarah.ruppel@ritterim.com, or our podcast-specific email, which we link to in the notes, asgpodcast@ritterim.com. Number 4, I wasn't quite sure where to put this item in our lineup today because we could arguably base the whole episode around it. But I will preface this by saying that just because this is coming in at number 4, that doesn't mean it's any more or less important. Sometimes it is just the flow of the episode. However, I digress. So let's get back on track here. One of the unfortunate things in our industry that has been happening lately, carriers are moving certain plans to a non-commissionable status. That is frustrating. I get it. There's really no other way to describe it than that. But I want to address some chatter we've been hearing about agents charging a consulting fee on those non-commissionable plans in order to right the ship, so to speak. I'm here to caution you against this behavior with what I think is some pretty compelling evidence. So first, let's look at how compensation rules are outlined in the Medicare Advantage and Part D marketing requirements. Looking at Title 42, Chapter 4, Subchapter B, Part 422, Section 2274, Subsection AI for Medicare Advantage, and then Title 42, Chapter 4, Subchapter B, Part 423, Section 2274, Subsection AI for Medicare Part D. Quote, Compensation includes monetary or non-monetary remuneration of any kind relating to the sale, renewal, or services related to a plan or product, end quote. And then a little further down in subsection C8 in both the MA and Part D requirements, CMS states that both MA and Part D organizations must, quote, ensure beneficiaries are not charged marketing consulting fees when considering enrollment in MA or Part D plans, end quote. On Medicare.gov, under the marketing rules for health plans, CMS has rules for meeting with agents, some do's and don'ts. Quote, during the meeting, Medicare plans and people who work with Medicare can't charge you a fee to process your enrollment in a plan, end quote. And then looking through subsection D, payment requirements are outlined for just about everyone in the industry. But do you know who is missing? Your clients. Also, fun fact, when I Googled the phrase, can an agent charge me a consulting fee for Medicare? The first word of that answer, no. Other highlights from those search engine results, quote, why you don't pay a fee. Do not pay the fee. Report the violation. Free consultation. Agents are not allowed to charge consulting fees. How is this legal? End quote. And one more thing I'd like to mention. One of the legal provisions that was held up in Judge Hurson's decision on the CMS 2025 Marketplace and Integrity Affordability Final Rule in the City of Columbus versus RFK Jr. and HHS, CMS adopting the preponderance of evidence standard of proof as their evidentiary standard when deciding on termination of agent broker and web broker marketplace agreements for cause. And just a few more definitions here, hang with me. Burden of proof means, quote, a fact in dispute is more likely than not, end quote. And the preponderance of evidence burden of proof is met when, quote, there is a greater than 50% chance that the claim is true, end quote. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here to say that if an audit is done on an agent's financial records, and there are consulting fees from some clients but not others, and that the clients with consulting fee charges also happen to be in non-commissionable plans, that they don't make the jump to correlate those factors. What I'm trying to say here is that, and no pun intended, this comes down to integrity and doing what you know is right by your clients. Yes, it is frustrating that some plans are going non-commissionable. That is money that has to be made up somewhere else in order for agents to become whole. But that shouldn't be happening at the expense of your client. My stance on this is going to be that no, you shouldn't be charging consulting fees on those plans. I think there is plenty of evidence to show that CMS doesn't want you charging consulting fees to your clients. Compensation for agents is meant to come from plan sponsors and comply with CMS rules. I think you could find yourself in a lot of trouble if you are doing that. We have seen CMS come out with mid-enrollment rules because of concerning behavior before. So, not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but this is something we've been hearing a lot about, and I just want to put this information out there as well and attempt to clear the air. Number 3. It's been 3 weeks since we last checked in on Spotify, but in that time, the streaming platform has been adding plenty of features. At the end of August, they slipped into DMs, and they have been on a roll since then. Couple of notable items to mention, starting with one that ASG podcast co-host Tina spotted. And if you're a Spotify listener who looks at the episode notes, you might have caught it too. Spotify has added automatic transcripts, and then from those transcripts, creates episode chapters where it can to help with episode navigation. In the beginning of September, Spotify announced a handful of new features. For all users, the ability to hide songs that you don't want to hear within a playlist, and the ability to manually refresh your Discover Weekly by genre if you've had an off week and your normal Discover playlist just isn't doing it for you. Premium users gained smart filters for their Spotify library, which sounds amazing, and I need to take the time to dig into that feature and play around with it. My Spotify is a little bit of a musical mess. It is a hybrid of my listening and my daughter's listening, and then just a metric ton of podcasts on top of that. Other new premium features, the ability to snooze a track for 30 days, more controls for the listening queue, playlist customization, and the ability to make DJ requests. I do like the playlist customization options. That feature has been a long time coming. So glad that I can finally arrange a playlist in the order that I prefer rather than just having the default sorting options. This brings the playlist just a smidge closer to being able to be like an actual mixtape. Also, new to Spotify, on September 10th, the company announced that Lossless audio was launching and would be available on Spotify Premium. For those of you who aren't familiar with that term, lossless refers to audio quality. WAV files compress recording data, but unlike MP3 and other lossy formats, they do not discard data when compressing. When a song is played in a lossless format, it'll sound just as it did when recorded. Lossy formats remove audio at certain frequencies, often targeting what the human ear can actually hear or what a speaker can actually play. Removing those details and nuances allows for smaller file sizes, which in turn are quicker to download and stream. Hi-fi audio is something Spotify started talking about back in 2021, so it's taken quite some time to get here. Over the years, rumors suggested that the company would create a new, higher than premium pricing tier for lossless listening, but that is not the case. Little bit of a surprise to have it added as a premium feature, but I will take it. Not gonna complain. And then this week, Spotify announced that free plans would now have the ability to select a track and have it play immediately, rather than wait for an ad to play or wait for a playlist to make its way to that song. Free users will still have limited capability to skip songs, and they will still have to listen to ads. But this is a pretty cool change to the platform, and I love to see Spotify mixing it up and offering new features for all users, not just for those who pay. Number 2, I often joke that I'm an extrovert by nature, but was brought up by an introvert. So I have always thought of myself as an ambivert, someone who can be either an extrovert or introvert when they need to be. And then I learned about psychiatrist Ramy Kaminsky, his new book, and the term Otrovert. According to Kaminsky, this is a new classification. Quote, someone who feels like an outsider in any group, regardless of its members. Otroverts are not natural-born joiners. Unlike introverts, they are not shy or quiet and do not quickly tire from one-on-one socializing. Yet, in large groups, they feel uncomfortable, alienated, and alone. Unlike those who have been excluded or marginalized, Otroverts are embraced and often quite popular, yet they never feel like they truly belong. End quote. Kaminsky's book, The Gift of Not Belonging, was recently published, and as the person who coined the term Otrovert, naturally it's the first book to delve into detail on the subject. I've enjoyed reading about different personality traits through models like Myers-Briggs, the DISC assessment, Enneagram, and the 7 frequencies, to name a few. There are a lot of these personality frameworks out there, and it's interesting to compare and contrast them. While I wouldn't necessarily take something like this as an end-all, be-all type of assessment, there is definitely merit in understanding people a little more deeply, and not just as a sales tool. We actually hold DISC assessment trainings here at Ritter Insurance Marketing for our staff and our agents. It's a great tool to facilitate self-awareness, empathy, and improve communication. If that sounds like something that's interesting to you, we will be linking to more information in the episode notes. You can learn more, and apparently there's a test that you can take to see where you might fall on the otherness scale. Definitely an interesting addition to the existing personality traits and assessments. And coming in at number 1, we are super excited to announce the launch of IntegrityCONNECT. If you've attended any of our recent events, whether that's our summits or the in-person tech trainings, then you've likely already heard about IntegrityCONNECT. It's the all-in-one platform that combines integrity tools and features under one umbrella. IntegrityCONNECT brings together our customer relationship management tool, so our CRM, along with integrated quoting and e-apps, quick quotes, client snapshot, task list, policy snapshot, reminders, custom notes, automated marketing, client sync, leads, personal agent website, call recording, a personal business phone number, and myintegrity.com email address, accessible with a single sign-on your desktop or on the go with our mobile app available for download from both the Apple and Google Play stores. Integrity has taken what you loved about their technology and combined it into one extremely powerful platform. So previously, we had Medicare Center, Life Center, and Lead Center, to name a few of those standalone tools. And then there were features that existed within the overall Integrity app and platform. All of those experiences have now been combined. They're housed in one place under one single sign-on, making it easier for you to navigate from product to product and client to client. The goal here is to provide our agents with a seamless but powerful experience, integrating our tools together to connect with our agents and help you connect with your clients in one convenient location. We will have the link to learn more about IntegrityCONNECT, the link to our training schedule, and the other links we've mentioned today in our episode notes. So be sure to check those out. And with that, we are at the end of another Friday 5 episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay healthy and stay safe out there. And we will see you next week. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an Integrity company. This episode was written and produced by me, Sarah Ruppel. Script editing and fact check by Tina Lamoureux. Podcast design by Urban Rivera. Follow along with our show wherever you like to listen.